Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Chap. Wrapping up the last segment of the podcast. It's 12:14 on a Thursday morning. We're wrapping up the podcast. Obviously, we went through the top 10 wide receiver, the top 10 positions at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and defense. We went through the whole schedule. Now let's get to why I think the Detroit Lions are going to be a damn good team. I love what the Brad Holmes did this offseason. I think it was very well orchestrated. First of all, totally revamped secondary. I love Terrion Arnold as a draft pick that they drafted. Ennis Rakestraw is a good corner. I think he's going to develop well in the second half of the year. I think he's going to do a lot better. But to start, you got Carlton Davis and Meek Robertson and Terrion Arnold, man. And that's a good start, man. And then you got Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph and Ifatu Melifonwu. That secondary is totally revamped. You look at the linebacker level, you know that Jack Campbell is going to get better. Like, you know that Jack Campbell is going to get better. How much better? That'll depend on a lot of things. But I think Jack Campbell is really going to turn the corner this year. You go to the defensive line. You look at the defense and you go, adding DJ Reader is going to be a huge portion of this defense. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, it's going to be good mentorship for Broderick Martin, because I think Broderick Martin's going to be having a breakout season. I think around the Minnesota game, that's where he's going to start to show his stuff. But Broderick Martin, he's got a good person to learn off of. DJ Reader, great defensive tackle. DJ Reader is going to eat up one side of the line, man. There's teams are going to have to double him, and they're going to have to double Lee McNeil, and they're going to have to double Hutch. It opens up the spot for, a guy like Josh Pascal or James Houston or Marcus Davenport or Matthew Betts, perhaps, or whatever the case may be. The defense has improved. You look at the offense. Jonah Jackson, as much as people want to talk about Jonah Jackson, he was an issue last year. 26% of the pressures that Jared Goff faced came from Jonah Jackson. Taylor Decker was playing with a bad foot, so obviously Taylor Decker gets a little mea culpa. Ragnow played hell of good. Glasgow played good. I know what to expect out of Sewell. Know what to expect out of Ragnow. And then you add a guy like Kevin Zeitler, a guy who is really good in the pass game. Now, the run game, he was a little bit shaky, but when you're blocking for Lamar Jackson, the grades on Pro Football Focus sometimes get a little skewed. You look at Jahmyr Gibbs. He's going to have a great second year. He's only going to get better. You saw how good he got in the later half of the year with the Detroit Lions, and you've seen how good he was, and you've seen how good Dave Montgomery was. Both were top 13 backs in every statistic. I mean, yards after contact, touchdowns, just everything that you can imagine in a running game, you got in a running game. Jared Goff gets a big extension. He's going to be playing with his ass on fire. But I look at that wide receiver group, and I think there's two guys that could really excel in this wide receiver group. One is Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is. I think he's going to really excel in the second year of this offense. I think him getting a training camp, him getting a connection with Jared Goff, that could potentially be your replacement for Josh Reynolds. And then you get the JMO. Jameson Williams last year was the first 3 weeks he came back off the injury, the suspension that he had, wasn't good. Week 10 through the NFC Championship game, no drops. He had absolutely no drops. He was a hell of a player in that last half of the season. So, Jameson Williams is, I've said it for 2 years now, and I'll say it again. Jameson Williams will unlock this offense to an outer world potential. It's game over. These teams are not going to know what hit them. They're not. I look at JMO. I look at this Detroit Lions team, and I think this could be a really good year for the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to challenge for home field in the division. I mean, home field in the NFC. And look, no matter what people say from the Packer world, no matter what people say from the Bear world, re-signing Jared Goff was a good thing. Re-signing Jared Goff was a good thing. Your wide receiver, St. Brown, got better with Jared Goff. J-Mo got better with Jared Goff. Sam Laporta got better with Jared Goff. That shows you how good of a quarterback Jared Goff is. You got the coaching. Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, I think, is a hell of a head coach. Your positional coaches, Calvin Shepard at the linebacker position. You got Terrell Williams at the defensive line position, Hank Fraley at the offensive line position, Antoine Randall at the wide receiver position. This is a talented coaching staff. They're going to have the players well prepared. They're going to have the players prepared to be the best that they can be. I know a lot's been said about Aaron Glenn, but let me tell you this right now. Aaron Glenn is a hell of a defensive coordinator. What he's had to work with the last 2 years isn't fair. And he shouldn't be judged on it, to be honest. I mean, no one liked Cam Sutton, yet they're blaming Aaron Glenn for Cam Sutton's faults. You know, no one thought Emmanuel Mosley would fall apart. But here we are. And the Detroit Lions are going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. So as we move forward into the offseason, and obviously this is the last big hoorah with the schedule release and the ultimate schedule preview here on Detroit Lions News Podcast. When we go into the season, we're going to have a lot to talk about. How good this team is going to be, because this team is a team that could challenge for a Super Bowl. Period. End of story. This is a talented team. This is one of the most talented teams in the NFL, bar none. So as we sit here and we talk about this Detroit Lions team, just remember 2 things. This Lions team is going to be really good. So shift your expectations high. This is a good team.